What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 2 of the Portland Monthly Premodern Magic Afternoons April 2024 Tournament Edition. We've got some really cool decks to check out, so without further ado, let's dive in. First up is Tony on Blue-Black Stiflenought. This is a really cool version of the classic Tier 1 deck playing black, so of course you know that's near and dear to my heart. And overall, just a really cool variation of the deck using black for hand disruption and, of course, your buddy Psychotog to add an extra threat to close out the game quickly. Looks sweet. Let's see what he's playing against. Next up, we have Chris on Enchantress. Now, Chris is a bit of an expert on Enchantress, having written a pretty extensive guide and done well with it in a lot of recent tournaments. This list is, I believe, his tried and true method. I don't think he's trying anything else special with the brew. Ignore the Birds of Paradise. I'm not entirely sure why that's in the photo. I think it's a trophy card. But yeah, the basic premise of Enchantress is you draw lots of cards for playing Enchantress or enchantment effects, and those let you draw more cards and more until you can basically ramp into a win con. Generally, that win con being opalescence and swinging in with massive armies of animated enchantments. You also have solitary confinement to keep aggro decks off your back, and yeah, very solid list, very well done. I really love the land choice as well. Very cool, and can't wait to see how it plays. All right, here we go. We have Tony on the left and Chris on the right. Now, I think it is going to be very important that Tony keeps Chris off of those first early enchantments. I don't know if he knows what his opponent is playing. It's only been one round, so chances are he hasn't gotten much of a glance. But it looks like both players are going to be shipping it back looking for better six. And yeah, Tony notably not in blue-white Stiflenought, which means that there is a severe lack of enchantment removal. That is definitely one of the worst things about not being in the white variant, and could be the deal breaker here, I think. So yes, those early counter spells are going to be very important in order to keep Chris off balance. And as far as Chris's game plan goes, he does have ways to blow up enchantments fairly easily. Looks like he's going to go to 6, and Tony, unfortunately, is going to be going down to 5.
Going to 5, huh?
I think that's a seal of cleansing on the top for Chris as well, so immediately has an answer. I'm not sure if he knows what Tony's playing, but keeping a hand with an answer to the biggest threat in Tony's deck can only be a good thing. And we'll see if Tony gets a playable 5 here. Wonder is an interesting include in the list that I don't think I caught before. I don't know if that's standard in Stiflenought, but seems like a very fun include. And Chris is going to lead us off, fetching. Probably grabbing a forest here, if I had to guess. And play out a Mirror's Guile and pass. This one functions similar to a Sylvan Library, except that you just get to rearrange your deck. You don't get to pay life to draw more cards. It also does only cost 1 mana, which can be relevant and is a good turn 1 play. Alright. Tony does have a Duress here. And now definitely knows what his opponent's on. Hopefully Chris plays open for him so Tony doesn't have to take notes on the whole thing. And you have to think he takes the Seal of Cleansing here. The Parallax Wave is concerning too, but that's a problem for future Tony. Alright, and Chris not playing up. Okay, so we'll have to remember the Parallax Wave and Exploration, and I think a land. I already forgot. Alright, yes, that looks like what it is. Oh, it's a Windswept Heath. That's right. Okay. Chris giving it a think here. By the way, gotta love Tony's tattoos. He's got Wooburg on the knuckles on one hand. I think that's a Zelda tattoo. Okay. Opting for a fetch, so obviously didn't like everything that was on top of his deck. This is a great way to shuffle through it. And I believe that's a Sacred Ground, right? Prevent land destruction. That seems like an interesting include in the deck. I could see potentially why it would be good. I'm just gonna look that up real quick and confirm. In the meantime, Tony's just gonna play land and pass. Yes, that is a Sacred Ground. So definitely a way to play around land destruction, which I guess the deck must suffer from. All right, and we got our first Enchantress on the board. This will ramp into more and more of them, drawing Chris more and more cards. It does have Shroud, which makes it very difficult to deal with. And you have to wonder if a Daze here is worth it, because it probably is. We're actually going to hard cast the Daze. Makes sense, you don't want to set yourself back a land drop. Unless you don't have a... Tony may be banking on drawing a third land there. That is unfortunate. He does have a Stifle as well, which I'm sure he's saving for his Dreadnought. Alright, there we go. Third land drop and pass. Mulligan into 5, you can't really pick your hand too much, but having a way to keep the first Enchantress off the board is huge.
Wasn't this song just on? How you doing? Good, how are you? Very possible. Someone's fucking trolling us. The song was like just on repeat, bro. It feels like it's been on for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, first it has a lot more random interactions. There's not nearly as many. This is much more strategic.
Alright, and then we're gonna get a Mirror's Guile trigger here.
Okay.
That is definitely one thing about Enchantress decks that I've found, is that they do tend to be very methodical. Slowly rolling towards card advantage and inevitable land, so you can find any way to disrupt them or keep them off of Enchantress. And does Tony want to mana leak this? He does. Alright, 2 down, 6 to go. Looks like Chris might even have that Solitary Confinement in hand. We'll see in a second. Nope, it's just the 2 we knew about. The Exploration and the Wave. And yep, might as well get rid of the Wave because that Exploration is not going to be doing much right now. Not until Chris can really start ramping with all the card draw he does have available in his deck. Ooh, is that a Replenish? I think he might have just drawn a Replenish, which is a very bad thing. Alright, land coming down. Maybe not a Replenish. I feel like that would have just been a Windmill Slam. Oof. And that was a quick pass from Chris to Tony, and then Tony back to Chris. Tony's deck not finding much action here. That is at least a land drop. Gonna go fetch. I think that's a Expedition Polluted Delta. Very pretty. Players will play the cards they like best, I've found, which is why Tony's got a bit of an eclectic mix in his deck. But hey, it's what he likes. That's totally cool. We don't need to be the kind of community that is bashing people for enjoying the cards they play with. Definitely seen that in past videos and in forums, and that's just not the kind of community we want to be here, especially in Portland. We want to play with people. We don't really care what the cards are that they're playing, what they look like, at least. If you're playing Stasis, GTFO. Kidding. I know there's a few Stasis players in the Portland community that that's special for. That's a treat for you guys. All right, well, we did get another land drop from Tony, and Chris deciding what he wants to play out off of our draw, I guess, off the Mirror's Guile. Looks like he just has, I think that's the enchantment land ramp, which doesn't make sense to draw necessarily right now. Alright. Sanctum hitting the board. Right now just taps for 2. And both players kind of just waiting for the other shoe to drop here. Lots of draw goes, which is what Stiflenought does when it doesn't have the Dreadnought. Oh, looks like we're gonna do a little change of plans there. Alright, tap for 3 total. And how about this Enchantress effect? Does it stick? This one is an enchantment versus a creature, but basically does the same thing.
Is there a sanctum? So 1, 2.
Oh, because it's
And is that going to resolve? I don't think Tony can afford to let it, because this is when the deck starts piling. Yes, we're going to foil, get rid of a couple of islands, and pass. And that did not look like a Dreadnought, so we're just going to pass back to Chris. Looks like that is the 3rd or 4th fetch. Windswept Teeth, potentially, in the back there, so could cycle away these cards, which doesn't seem like he wants to draw them in particularly. Alright, land draw coming down. And pass. Okay, another foil, a Vision Charm, and a Stifle, I think is what Tony has in hand right now. Alright, moving to Chris's turn. That is a Seal of Cleansing. In those 3, I'm not sure if that's what he drew. And Tony drew a Wonder. You hard cast a Wonder here? I don't even remember how much Wonder costs. I don't think I've cast it ever. Is it 4 or is it 5? Alright, yeah, we're gonna hard cast a Wonder, and it is indeed 4. And a pass, and there is finally a threat on board. Oh, a Decree of Justice, okay. Decreeing for 3? Got some 1/1s.
Okay, so those happen. And draw a card.
It was in my hand, but I just couldn't get the red. I was looking for. I've got 16 different lands that can give me red. I've got some fetchers to get red.
Then pass into Chris's turn. Always has the Guile. Okay, so there is an Enchantress. Tony is tapped out, so this does seem the time to play it. Obviously, Daze is a card, and Foil. But with only 3 cards in hand, you have to think Foil is pretty unlikely. Nope, little slip of the cards here. Alright. Enchantress effect number 5, I think. And that one is gonna stick. We got I believe that's a Fertile Ground. Whatever the land enchantment is from Legends. Anyways, I will draw a card. Land coming down. Exploration. That'll draw a card. Then let's tap for a lot. 5. +1. Ooh, and a replenish, and that I think is gonna wrap up the game. If Tony doesn't have a way to counter that, which doesn't look like he does, that is a lot of value.
No, it just puts him into play. I'm not casting that.
Alright, we're gonna organize the board here, try and get everything on screen.
5 counters on it.
Let's double check and make sure there's no other enchantments in the field.
2 remaining, and I'm gonna cast this.
Alright, then play out
Play another seal.
a Seal of Cleansing. That triggers 2 more draws. He could play this land out. He does have 1 land drop left.
Yep.
And I wanted to go to Lowe's and build like a plate with some dowels to kind of like
Play a land.
Alright, plays out the land.
I'm gonna exile this.
Let's get rid of that guy.
make sure that everything.
And then I'm gonna attack you for 3.
Wait, no, 16.
Yeah, 16.
And swinging for 3.
So you go to 16. And so everyone's at 16. Go ahead.
And go. And at this point, I think Tony is definitely not long for this game. There's something to be said for just conceding at this point. The inevitability is quite a bit. Not only does he have 1 Seal of Cleansing, but he has 2 for any Stiflenought you might find, able to fight through Stifles, or ooh, there is a Stiflenought. Or Dreadnought. Sorry. I'm combining the deck name with the creature name at this point. I'm sure I've said that multiple times in this video so far. My apologies. But he does find a Dreadnought. Unfortunately, that Dreadnought has onboard answers to it. But I don't think there's a way to deal with it other than just play it out and hope you can get another Dreadnought.
I have 1 guidance grade, just so that I can put something back into my graveyard if needed. And then
Alright, nope, Tony is just gonna pass. I guess you could hope for another Stifle if you do have the Vision Charm.
Okay, Mirror's Guile.
Alright, Mirror's Guile. Gonna find at least 1 enchantment. Looks like, and is the mana ramp.
It's gonna go down to 3.
so I've got a little bit of green, but it's got to be done through the mana fixing because I have no green mana per se. Alright, this is.
Chris deciding on the best play here.
Presence.
Alright, we're gonna play out another
Is that okay?
Enchantress Presence.
1, 2.
Draw 2.
We'll put this.
I think just trying to keep what's been played this turn, just in case he draws Opalescence, which seems like a very real possibility with a draw 3 each time. Alright, another Fertile Ground coming down. Draw 3.
I guess I'm gonna put it like that. Just to, this is the newest one. So play this, draw 3.
I think that's an Elephant Grass that he just drew.
Play the presence, and then I'm drawing. Sorry, Wild Growth on this, and then I'm drawing.
Wild Growth.
Yeah, the Wild Growth. Elephant Grass.
Draw 3 more.
Land.
First land drop for exploration.
It's new. It might matter. So, play the land. Evergreen floating. Wild growth this. Drop 3.
Draw 3 more.
Justice, draw 3.
Plays out another enchantment, draw 3 more. We're basically just looking for opalescence at this point, which I think he did just draw.
For a swamp. Fetch a swamp and then cast it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Making a boatload of mana. 11 plus 1 green.
I'm gonna play a Sterling Grove.
Alright, well, he
1 white.
didn't find opalescence, but he at least found a way to go look for it. So he's gonna go
Draw 3.
play that out. Draw 3. Oh, no, he did draw opalescence. Okay. So at this point, you have to remember everything that was on the battlefield before the turn started, which is, I don't think, enough to be lethal. Still gets to draw 3 for the opalescence. And at that point, this is where Tony should scoop. I mean, he should have scooped probably like 3 turns ago. Or maybe it's only been 3 turns. It's only been 1 turn, but it feels like 3. Alright, so those just entered the battlefield this turn. So he's able to swing in for
11, 13,
what is that, roughly
14,
12?
17.
More than that? Alright, that's going to be game number 1. Okay, definitely something there to be said for Tony conceding. But I understand if he hasn't ever played this deck before, which it really isn't in our meta that much. Chris is visiting from out of town. Totally can understand not being used to it and wanting to see what happens. But once you start getting that many Enchantress abilities with no real answer, it just becomes inevitable. I've found. All right, so Tony, I think keeping a 7 here, which is fantastic.
You get one of these.
Having the
Bounty card.
the mold 5 last game also did not help.
That's exciting. Did you do these yourself?
Yeah, they're 3rd edition, bro.
Fuck yeah, dude. Awesome. That Revised was my first set that I started with, so I've got like major nostalgia for Revised. Still remember the smell of a freshly opened Revised pack.
I'll never forget. Yeah, the early days of Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm good with this.
All right, looks like Chris is gonna keep a 6. Okay, we have a Sagittar. We got a little bit of a draw spell here. Gonna pass. Is there a Dreadnought in hand? You think with a snap keep on 7, there would be, but maybe not. Tony keeping the cards a little close to his chest, so it's a little tough to see.
Wait, did you just look at more than 3 cards?
Does it?
I think that was 4, right? Did you look
Sorry, I just meant to reshuffle the top one.
I think you had 4 cards that you just picked up right now. You had.
These
Is it,
4?
it's top. Yeah, I think you
Top
looked
3.
at.
Some discussion happening
Yeah, I
here.
put it down, and then when you shuffled, it looked like you had 4.
Oh shit.
I think you looked at an extra one by accident.
Okay. Fuck you.
Maybe a judge call. Was there a 4th card looked at potentially?
On Limb Dooms.
On
On Port. I meant to just shuffle the top. I didn't even see it.
I believe that's what happened. Is that Portent is only look at 3.
Do you want to?
Want to report it?
No. Just look at the top.
And I think the 4th one got picked up on the second look.
Oh.
Right. right? But see,
Having a little discussion here with each other and one of the TOs. We don't have a judge on staff, so it's mostly just up to the players to resolve any disputes amongst themselves. If that can't happen, then one of the tournament organizers will step in, or just one of the other community members.
And then when he went to do it again,
I think just talking through how best to solve this.
put them down, but then it looked like he had 4. So the fourth,
And it might be just as simple as shuffling everything but the top 3, because everything else should be randomized anyways. Because I don't think he changed the order of it
I literally just last second decided
when you looked the second time.
be on top instead of bottom. Accidentally grabbed 4 versus 3.
But we don't know if that was. I don't know if that was the 4th or the top one. Or I don't know what.
Anyways, curious to see what they're gonna
I don't know.
decide here.
I didn't see it, unfortunately. So it's not even on. You didn't even see it? No, I grabbed 4 like this, hands down. I only shuffled. I didn't even look at them. I just put one underneath the other one.
So he had a wrapped gun.
I did this.
I didn't want to use it on one.
Grab this. So like this. I did that.
Surely
No, I want him to feel okay.
I feel better with a shuffle. Yeah.
So then I report it.
It's not a report, and you just shuffle and then you just draw a new card off the top. I would say. I think that's the most.
Mostly not talking just in case you guys can hear what they're saying, but I think
Yeah, I mean.
the solve here is just shuffle everything in. Look at the next top 3, which is interesting. I figure, like, you can go back and watch
Yeah, but I don't know which card that was though.
But you saw what I did.
and let me know in the comments, but I feel like he didn't change the order of the 4th card, so you should just shuffle everything but the top 3. But I could be wrong, and again, I'm no judge.
Okay, and then you draw my upkeep, and then I draw for my.
Okay, so the solve is you just don't get to
I'm gonna fetch.
randomize the order of the top 3. I don't know if that's right, but again, it was a mistake on Tony's part. This is how we're choosing to resolve it. If you are a judge, you can chime in the comments how you would solve this issue. But anyways, we're on to the Enchantress. Hitting the board. Unfortunately, no days in hand, or if you didn't have time to resolve. Nope, looks like we're just passing turn. Playing out a polluted delta.
How come you have the guy blacked out?
I don't like that what it looks like.
Okay, that's a good reason. Didn't they
Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh.
didn't they reprint these though?
I think so.
Not sure why we're pointing at the portent. Chris did draw, or sorry, Tony did draw from
This looks weird.
the portent last turn, or the beginning of Chris's turn.
Yeah, sorry for this being awkward. It's just
No, I'm fine with it.
yeah. I thought that there was a 4th.
Right?
Yeah, I thought that there was a 4th card, even if you didn't see it. Like I
definitely didn't see it.
Okay, I'm gonna draw.
To be honest, it wasn't the best part in the world.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Chris having to think here. It's gonna play out the.
It's when I cast it.
I always forget what this one is. It gives all other enchantments Shroud, and you can
Whenever I cast
sack it to go find another enchantment, put in your hand. Sterling Grove? I think it might be Sterling Grove. Anyways, gets a draw. Oop, and hits the Sanctum. That is an interesting include from Tony's side. I'm blanking on the name of the sideboard card, but it's the one that lets you bounce all green. Is it green permanents or green creatures? It might be green permanents, which would be a really good option here. Basically shuts off the Sanctum, and assuming you have counter magic in hand, you can have another shot at countering the Enchantress.
Most of your deck is foil, right?
Just the land.
He has gotten a few draws off it already yet though, so it might not be the best, but we're gonna go for it.
Okay.
Okay, so it is just green permanents. Alright, currently has functionally 2 lands,
Lands.
now 3, that Sanctum not tapping for anything until an enchantment is on the field.
Enchantress.
Alright, does that Argothian Enchantress stick?
Foil?
This time it does not. We are going to foil it. Something, something, best laid plans. And I'm actually sure what the non-island card is that he's pitching. I don't know if I've seen that before.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Curious as to what that is. That must have been in some additional sideboard tech. Or maybe just a new printing in an old border. Sort of looked like a twiddle, but I really doubt it was twiddle, because that wouldn't make any sense. Alright, we're going to rearrange the lands here a little bit. Does just have 2 black, or 2 blue and a black. Ooh, and we do have a Dreadnought with the Stifle.
Okay, done.
Alright, so Tony does have a threat. Can he capitalize on it? I do see some elephant grasses for Chris, which will make things a lot harder. But is that the play? Alright, Chris going in the tank here a bit. Tap 2.
Seal cleansing.
Ooh, and he just has the answer. And is that going to land? I don't know if...
My elephant grass.
Ooh, okay, elephant grass, yeah. I don't know if Tony is going to be able to stifle that.
Creatures cannot attack you, non-black creatures cannot attack you unless they pay 2. Got it.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna pass to you.
Interesting. Alright, we're gonna...
Seal this.
Oh, in your upkeep.
Feels good.
That's an interesting time to do it, I guess. I might have just done it on my turn, but... well, that Dreadnought is going away. Alright, how about a Psychotog?
Yep.
It is a threat. It's not as much of a threat, especially with that elephant grass out. Black creatures are not even able to attack. Every other creature has to pay. I don't remember exactly how much it is. I think it's 1 plus however many time counters are on elephant grass. Alright, we got a Mirror's Guile coming down. Or Mirror's Guile, or whatever. And
2 cards in hand?
no Enchantress abilities for Chris at the moment. Otherwise that would have definitely come down first. Alright, but we got a tutor ability. We go find Enchantress Presence. The Shroud probably not being super relevant here. Again, blue-black not having a ton of ways to interact outside of that bounce effect that we saw. And that Psychotog coming down as well. Unfortunately, both are not going to be able to swing in as long as the elephant grass is on the field, and we know that Chris has another elephant grass in hand as well, so he's going to pay for this one for as long as he wants, and having the Sanctum definitely makes it easy to do so. But worst case, if it's eating up too much mana... Alright. We're going to crack this. Secluded Grove, or whatever it is, and go find... something. Opalescence is on the bottom, which means he did, I think, bottom it originally. I don't think there's been a fetch. No, there has been a fetch. Okay, so we're just gonna get an Enchantress effect here. And I think, unfortunately, this is pretty close to the point where Chris is just running away with the game.
That's for you. What you got?
One or two more
Top.
Enchantress effects, and this becomes another game of solitaire.
I'm gonna let this die.
Alright, so not paying for Elephant Grass. Probably rightfully assuming that he's not going to need it for very much longer. Alright, playing out the Enchantress Presence, draw a card for the second Elephant Grass, and pass. And next turn I think is where this really starts to go off. Ooh, there is a Decree of Justice in hand as well. Okay, we're gonna duress.
Call the herd.
Most likely grabbing the Decree, as that's probably the most likely win con. However, the Sterling Grove, or Secluded Grove, or whatever it is, I think it's Sterling Grove, is equally dangerous. And I would have been so quick to not pick that one.
Upkeep.
Granted, if you do decide to main cast the Decree, a couple of 4/4s could end the game very quickly. Ooh, did he draw Opalescence as well? Or it's in the top. Alright, so he will be drawing it soon if he hasn't already. Probably not the first card he draws.
Paid in full. Call growth this.
Alright, we're just gonna do a little bit of ramping. Draw a card.
Play land for the turn.
Land drop for turn.
Play Sterling Grove, draw.
Draw another card. Okay, so he did put Opalescence at the bottom. Not needing it this turn. The Call of the Herd is an interesting choice. I don't know if that was in the main or brought in from the side just as a way to be an additional threat.
Play Opalescence.
Okay, we are going to play out Opalescence.
Draw.
Draw a card.
What's all lessons do?
Makes all my
One
enchantments-
mana remaining.
All my other ones. All my non-aura enchantments. So these are creatures. This is not.
And what's their power?
Equal to
Oh,
the
sorry, and untapped forest with
Yep. I'm gonna use this. I don't want to play
that.
Enchantress.
Alright, another enchantment or Enchantress presence coming down. And at this point, I think it's... Oh, we are going to mana leak that one. Well, that is good.
Go ahead.
I was just about to say, I mean, it's still probably over at this point. It's just a matter of going through the phases. But with an Opalescence down, and perceivably a way to draw several more cards each turn.
This and this.
Ooh, including another Enchantress ability. I'm not sure what he has in hand, but it's probably an enchantment. Yeah, if this one resolves, I think it is going to be game over.
Enchantress's presence. Draw a card.
Tony does have a foil.
What does that do?
That Xanthid Swarm?
Little zero
Or...
flyer. Whenever I attack, a trigger happens, and you
Interesting.
cast spells from the
They can't like instantly remove it or...
That is definitely a sideboard card.
Go ahead.
End of turn I'm going to vault.
Oh, sure.
Alright, Tony's gonna Limdol's Vault here. It's funny, we actually just saw this in last round's video with Battle of Wits. I didn't catch that it was in Tony's deck as well. It's a different printing. I think it's a secret layer or something.
You liked the
I
5.
believe it's look at top 5, rearrange however you want.
Not gonna be enough.
Totally makes sense in a Stiflenought deck. I think he does have a Dreadnought in hand, so he
Do the 2 things.
at least has one potential out. Granted, Chris does have a lot of blockers. Oh, can't forget to pay for Elephant Grass,
3 now, right?
which should cost more now, right? Yeah, it should cost 3.
with these trigger.
Trigger's good. You attacking with those two?
No.
Or just
Just these.
Which is zero?
Which is zero, yeah.
Oh, just to not let me not interact. Got it.
Correct. Okay, so you can't cast spells.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, I'm gonna play grass, 2 triggers.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna do it with this one.
And yeah, now the game of solitaire really begins.
I'm gonna crack this in response.
Chris gonna go through the motions.
I guess I'm gonna
Tutoring. Nope, decide not to tutor.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, gonna make a bunch of mana first.
So I have 7.
Not sure what I pointed at the creature insect. That's not an enchantment.
Crack this.
Hopefully that isn't in the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, not in the count. Alright, so now Chris has a way to remove permanently all the creatures on Tony's side. With Opalescence and Parallax Wave, the way it works is you can hit
And then
both.
I'm gonna go on top. I'm gonna draw 1 and then 2.
Oh, so not going to hand? Oh, well, that's right. He's tutoring for it. Okay, so
7. I'm gonna go
he does have the mana to play it.
I'm gonna play wave. 2 triggers.
Able to blink the Psychotogs.
This has 5 counters. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna target this guy.
Okay.
I'm gonna hold priority. And then I'm gonna target this guy and I'm gonna hold priority.
And then on the stack,
Itself.
blinks itself,
Leave. And then this is gonna come back with 5.
comes back
And
with
then
5
it'll
more counters.
resolve, and these are gonna be
But in the
resolved.
meantime, those were both removed.
Yep. And then
Really nasty combo. And yeah, this is, it's been over for a minute, just like game
I'm gonna play a
1.
follow the
But we're
card.
just gonna go through the motions here.
So 3/3 busy.
I have a little 3/3 boy.
Love it.
Tony being a very good sport here, I have to give him
And
big props for this. I would have conceded quite a while ago. With really no out here, short of another big bounce effect.
3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And maybe that's what he was looking for. I don't know how many of those sideboard cards he has. It is just 1. But it looks like it's just gonna be a Dreadnought coming down. Phasing it out.
in response
Technically,
to that, I'm gonna
Chris can hit it before it phases out,
target this.
which is what he's gonna do. So yeah, you're basically not having any more creatures, and that's gonna be game number 2. All right, congrats to Chris on taking that down. And again, big props to Tony for being such a good sport through that. Those kind of interactive decks can be sometimes frustrating to play against, but so is Magic. You win some, you lose some. Thank you to everyone for checking it out. If you stick around this long, I appreciate you. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check out the Discord. Link is in the video description. And if you've been liking this content and you want to support the channel more, best way to do that is, of course, through likes and subscribes, comments as well. But there is also a Patreon link down below in the video description if you want to do more. All that goes towards the channel, gear upgrades, travel expenses, that sort of thing. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next time.